वापस से सुन।
Good evening, doctors. Today we are having our expert person on dietary recommendations for children with autism with the Ayurvedic perspective. Dr. Sri Kumar Nambudri is a specialist in Ayurvedic pediatrics. He's a retired DMO. His accolades and awards are very big list to tell. I will highlight only very few which are very important. Like he is the one who started Spandanam project under the Kerala government initiative, where they take care of children with mm, learning disabilities and other pediatric uh, things, and he is the one that was awarded best project as well, and he has received best doctor awards like Bishagwara award and Charaka award in 2016. So it's and other things are very big list is there. uh, we will hear from the expert on what are and all dietary recommendations. So, I will hand over it to Dr. Sri Kumar. Sir, you please start.
Thank you, ma'am. And good evening to everyone. And my sincere thanks for inviting me for this webinar. We'll go just the topic is dietary recommendations for children with autism and Ayurvedic perspective. So as an introduction, I think I must say something about either you people homeopathic, and there must be having some connection with Ayurvedic. I hope. Anyway, we just have a look at what Ayurveda is really. See, I must say that Ayurveda is not exactly a biological science. Ayurveda has its roots, its philosophy originates from a mathematical concept, and the philosophy comes from maths and logic, and the biology is at the application level only. So that's why when the others people say the modern medicine people, they ask for evidence-based things like that. This is not practiced as such. The basic concepts and philosophy goes directly into the mathematical concepts. I think it is not that difficult to understand. Anyway, we'll just go through that. Right. So the first slide, keywords. Let us discuss it. 3 keywords are there in the topic you have given to me. One is diet, and the next is children with ASD. I take it as one word. Then the third, Ayurveda. So we'll go one by one. Okay. First thing about diet. Okay. The slides are being seen, isn't it? Dr. Eka?
It is seen.
Dr. Eka,
Yes.
you can't see the slides.
Oh, okay.
See the previous
Yes,
slide.
ma'am.
Previous.
You can see now.
Is that okay?
No, I can't see.
is not opened.
Yeah.
Not opened.
Not seen, ma'am.
No, no. We can
Not
see only
opened.
Not open.
The file is closed.
Everyone can see that.
Okay, not seen, ma'am. Not seen. Screen not seen.
Stop. Start.
Okay. Is it now?
Expect them.
Is it seen now? Can you see me? Can you see this, ma'am?
Can we slide it?
Yeah. Is it seen now?
Yeah.
No?
It's seen now, huh? Yeah, the first slide, yes. That one.
Yeah.
Keywords.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, keywords.
Okay, we have three keywords as I said. One is diet, the second is children with ASD, I take it as one word. Then third, Ayurveda. So just go to the first word in the keywords now. Next slide. Diet. So according to Ayurveda, the diet is strictly person specific and Ritu specific. Ritu means the seasons. The diet which is suitable in summer is not suitable in winter. The winter diet is not suitable in rainy seasons. So those specific is the diet according to Ayurveda. Person, Kala, Atma, Desha. Next is space, Desha or area where the child or the person lives. The diet is according to that only. Then again comes the disease specific. So here we are dealing with the diet for autism spectrum disorder, children with the autism spectrum. So this is a disease specific diet we are exploring. Okay, next. But before going to the disease specific diet, we must understand that the previous things, that the space or the person, all those things are important even in a diseased person. Okay. So the next keyword is children with ISD. Children with ISD means we have to see that these children are picky eaters. So a picky eater, as you know, refuse to eat even the familiar food or some new food, or any combinations like that. And they may be having, as you know, you all are working with children with autism, I think so. They have their food preferences. Okay, right. They have the sensitivities for smell, color, texture, temperature, appearance, taste, etc. And they often confuse. And it may not be a problem for homeopaths, but it's a problem for Ayurvedic people because our medicines are not that palatable. So they often confuse the food items with the medicines once we start giving the medicines. So they reject the medicine usually, some of them, not all. So if the food is served in a vessel which previously used to give the medicines, then the child will refuse sometimes. So here the smell, the color, the texture, most of the in the case I have gone through is having reluctance to eat something sticky to even touch. So the texture is important. The appearance also is important. Even without touching, when the child just sees the food item like payasam or something like that, he rejects. So usually the Ayurvedic people just can't serve legumes for them. Most of these children reject legumes as medicines. Okay, now we'll go to the next. Picky eater, frequent food refusal, limited preferred food items, and excessive intake of same food. How do you deal with all these things? That is the important thing. Deal with see, generally even children without autism, usually toddlers, they have this habit of picky eating. So how to go about that? The thing is frequent food refusal. When they refuse food, what we generally do is, which I found effective in most of the cases, we let them like that. But the parents don't do that. They are very eager to make the child eat whatever they want him to eat. But we prefer in IP in the hospitals, we ask them, let him alone, let the child be what he or she is. Don't pressure him to eat something. So by the time we have a treatment method like upavasana, called upavasana, where you fast for a day or something like that, for hours or something like that. So it is meant to reignite the energy agni, the digestive power in you. So usually when we don't uh, push them to eat, after some time the child comes back and is ready to eat. We used to do that in the hospital. And limited preferred food items. So you have to make them the limited, identify the limited and preferred food items, and you can mix some things. I will explain it later with the food items to make it different, slightly different from the food he has been taking for quite a long time. If there is a distinct difference, he may reject it, but the difference has to be very slight difference in taste or texture or whatever. You have to, like the systematic desensitization process in psychology. You have to do that with the food with the children with autism. Excessive intake of same food. Here also we can do that. Eating the same food, you can make a slight difference in the taste or texture or whatever. It makes a difference. And then he gradually, we have done that, and this is the effective. Most of the cases is effective, and the child is able to accommodate some different food rather than eating the same food for a longer period of time. Okay. Go. You have to be here. And I will go to the next slide. Ayurveda, finally. The concept of Ayurveda derives from the concept of Panchabhutas. You have to go beyond that, but acharyas usually say that those who are in the field of treatment, that vaidyas or doctors, you don't have to go beyond Panchabhutas. So start with Panchabhutas. And from Panchabhutas means the five elements which constitute the whole universe. That is the concept. Prithvi, that is earth, not exactly earth, but you take it as air. Up, that is water. Tejo, that is Agni. Vayu, then Akasham, that is space. So the whole of universe is evolved from these Pancha Bhutas with different combinations. That is the concept of Indian philosophical thought. Ayurveda is as a part of the philosophical thought. Then from the Panchabhutas, the three doshas, which is the basic pillars of life according to Ayurveda has evolved. Three dosha, that is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Kapha is the nourisher, the builder, and Vata is the destructive force or the destroyer, and Pitta the maintenance role. Then comes Agni. These Panjabhutas, Tradosha, and Agni. These three things are very important with even the clinical clinicians. Agni is the metabolic fire. Agni represents transformation, which changes something to other. Agni has three levels, and it is of four types. Three level in the sense, the metabolic fire in our gut, Jataragni, that is called the primary level of Agni. The primary gross transformations of whatever you eat happens there in the gut, gastrointestinal system. Then the next level is Dhatogni. That is in the higher level, because the tissues are formed with the help of Dhatogni, the transformation from what you are, what you eat. That is the thing, no? So whatever you eat becomes the part of you. That is Dhatogni. Then the next level is Bhutagni, the most subtle level of transformation. Like in the body, the Panchabhutas are formed and your body is formed. It is like that all. So it is said that previous. And Agni is in these three level work together to keep you healthy and comfortable. Another thing is the digestive Ayurveda concept is that the digested food has two parts mainly, the Sara and the Kitta part of it. The Sara part becomes your body part later on after the different levels of digestion. The Kitta part is eliminated. That is Mala, we call it. Different malas, not exactly the fecal, excreta, urine, and other. And the most subtle part of the Sara part of the digestive process becomes your mind, psyche. It nourishes your psyche. The Sushma Amsham of your ahara, whatever you eat, becomes your mind, or nourishes your mind. Or, the thing is, that is why we advise not to eat those the rajas or tamasic foods, like the one which we keep in fridges and take out, and again you heat and you eat, and some combinations which is very it becomes toxic, and some food which interacts with the other food which we have taken earlier and becomes toxic. All those things, and the food, and we'll come to that later on. The four types of Agni. I'll go to the four types of Agni. We have four types of Acharya has described four types of Agni. Why I am saying this is all these are dependent on the diet is all dependent on all these things. The diet pattern of everyone. Now, four types are Vishama, Tishna, Manda, Sama. Four types. I'll explain that later. Next. So it is Agni Moolam Balam Pumsam. Wait a minute. Okay, and this is Agni Moolam Balam Pumsam. The health or the strength of your body, your life is dependent on Agni. That is the reference. Agni Moolam Balam Pumsam, Balamulam Hijivitam. If you are healthy and strong, then only you will live longer without diseases. Okay, next slide. And again, coming back to Agni, Agni is the most important thing. Agni Moolam Balam Bumzam. Agni is the most important part of it. So, Jadaragni, Dhatogni, Bhudagni, I have told you. Bhudagni is the most subtle level of Agni, which transforms the Panchakhuda aspects. It acts, you can say, in the molecular level. It becomes the food you are taken becomes to the becomes your body in the Panchakhuda level. That is Bhudagni. Dhatogni, the body tissues are formed from the by the Dhatogni, the actions of Dhatogni, and Jadaragni, the gut level Agni, which grossly transforms the food you have taken into different things like that. The fourth Vishama Agni means sometimes you take too much heavy food, it digests, and sometimes very simple, easily digestible food doesn't digest. Well, if you have Vishamagni, then it is very difficult to serve your food, because sometimes you digest it, sometimes you do not. It doesn't depend upon the food you give, food you prefer, but depends upon the Agni. Doesn't depend upon the food you take, depends upon the Agni. So if it is Vishamagni, then you have to address that part before coming to a dietary pattern for the child. Then the next is Tikshnagni. Whatever you give easily gets digested, like hyperthyroidism, and it easily gets digested. Agni is Tishnam. So anything you get, you take in, it is digested. There also there's a problem. Autism children, it is very rarely seen this Tikshnagni. Mostly it is Vishamagni for them. And the next is Mandagni. Whatever you give, it is very difficult to digest. The Agni is Mandam. So you have to address that with a medication, dietary prescriptions, Upavasam and all. Next is Samagni. That is the food you have to give in a proper quantity, is being digested properly in proper time, and the proper symptoms of proper digestions are signs of proper digestion are described in the text. That is, see, if you are you have to feel hungry, just that. If your Agni is working properly, Samam, it indicates that you have feeling hungry when it's in the appropriate time. Then you feel like eating, Ruchi, that is there. Sometimes you feel that you feel hungry, but you don't feel like eating. That means Ruchi, the Ruchi part of it is not there. You have to address that. So next is the abdomen. It has to be soft and palpable. It is hard and it's full of gases. That's a problem with your diet. That is the indication. Then generally we examine that stool. It has to be formed with a shape. Yeah, formed. Then it has to float in the water. It should not sink down. It should not be sticky. It should not be spread in the water. So if it is a solid formed stools floating in every day in the water, it means that the digestion is proper. So it is difficult for in the case of autistic children, because they don't defecate in the toilets usually. Even if they are toilet trained, it is difficult. They won't let others to see the fecal matter. It is a big problem for them. So you have to do that, even if it is in potty, you have to see that whether it is formed, whether it is floating, whether it is sticky, all those things you have to examine. That is the thing. If it is not, then there is a problem. If it is sticky, there is a problem. Different problems. If it is spreading, then it is a different problem for us. It is a different problem. If it is sinking, then also it is called ama, that is not properly digested. So all these conditions, we will have to take some medicines along with that. In these cases, I think homeopaths are better equipped because of the palatability. Usually, the children, even with the autism, they are children with autism. They take your medicines, but it is a bit difficult for us Ayurvedic people. But we manage that, and we used to do that. Okay, next slide. And now we'll come to the general considerations where address sensory issues, especially oral. If the child has an oral sensory problems, it is very difficult to make him eat. I have an experience of a typical autism case where the child used to take only orange juice, nothing else. He used to take grape juice before, but he stopped that. Gradually, only he came to orange juice alone. So the parents used to take him to different hospital very often, and we used to give him IV fluids and all. But that also was very difficult. I must say that it was very difficult to administer any sort of medicines to him because we tried to give some medicines along with this orange juice, but it failed. When he identified that something else is mixed with the orange juice, he simply refused to take that. It was a failure. It is a typical case of autism. Not all cases are not like this. I don't know what happened to the child. It was uh, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. Then see, what we do is we use some medicines forcibly applied on the tongue and the internal part of the mouth to overcome the oral sensory issues. Then if once the oral sensory issues are overcome, then we will be able to give him some different foods. This we have done, and it is effective. We along with the physicians, along with the occupational therapists, we used to do the sensory integration therapy, and along with that we mixed Ayurvedic drugs. That is very effective. Prefer organic vegetable food mostly for these children. That is less harmful and easily digestible food. Easily digestible food like no, I'll tell you that easily. What is easily digestible? A lot of things are there which are generally easily digested, but the thing is if the child is autistic and he prefers this and that, and in these categories you have to make that easily digestible. The preferred items you have to make as easily digestible. We'll see how to do that. Then address probable deficiencies like that vitamin B6, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids, and only with food. Again, it is difficult, but these vegetables do have all these things, and it is made into different food or mixed with different food items